Hello and welcome to Take This TV, the television book club podcast where each week we talk about an episode or two of our favorite shows with our friends in the fandom. Hello! I'm Carmen and I'm joined as always by the amazing Kimberly Woods. Hello!
Hey, hot potatoes!
This season we are watching Dark Matter.
And today we're on episode 3. We'll put the description in the comments because I didn't write it down this week and we just finished watching it.
Y'all know what it is. Yeah. So if you haven't seen it, be sure to watch the episode first and then come back and hang out with us.
Yeah, because we're about to jump right in.
Spoilers.
Woo! So this show moves at such a fast pace, Carmen. Like, what did you think after the last one?
Okay, so the second episode ends with Daniela getting shot by Dawn. Oh my gosh. Murder. Right? And Jason gets kidnapped. So going into this episode, I was like, you know, shenanigans are going to happen, but it's probably going to slow down. And like maybe Jason will start to live in this, family Jason will start to live in Science Jason, formerly known as Evil, the artist formerly known as Evil Jason, live in his universe. But that's not the case. Which I love because I think the show like keeps you on your toes and just keeps moving. What did you think?
I loved it. It was fun. I love the pacing of the show. I like that we found out that Amanda is not a villain, or so it seems. Because we were wondering last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like, okay, this agent, she just killed Daniela. What's the deal with Amanda? But, you know, she seems to be a nice person and is like trying to help our family Jason get out of here. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah. I feel like Amanda is like, oh no, Dawn murdered a person. I need to save my mortal soul. So it's like, Amanda's trying to get like redemption, it seems like. But she, yeah.
Dawn was laying the smackdown this episode, smacking on family Jason.
Oh my gosh. If you ever seen the movie Friday, Dawn has big Debo energy. She's just like beating on Jason, closed hands, slapping him and kneeing him in the chest and stuff. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. But you know what? She gets results, I guess. For she definitely is. I was joking last time that she's Mercy and Leighton is Lex Luthor, but they literally are. We learned in this episode.
I love like Leighton in his villain arc. Because he's like, I'm so close to power. I have the key. I just don't know how to use the box. And like, what if we go to every universe and find something to cure cancer? But you know that that's not really what he wants. He just wants power.
Yeah, because he's all like, oh, we could bring those resources to our universe, that knowledge to our universe. It's like, no, that's not what you want. And then we have that scene with the detective where she comes in to interrogate him. And we see that, like, the office that his grandfather built or whatever, and he kept it the same. But it just reminded me of, like, all those old, like, CW shows, like Smallville and stuff, where the villains are always in, like, these really, like, fancy, ornate rooms or whatever. And I was like, yeah, he's totally not a good guy. But
Nope.
What did you think of the detective?
She was funny. I kind of wanted to see more of her because she had this smile, but... like, underneath it, it was, I don't know, she could cut you.
Yeah. She definitely was like a wolf. Like, yeah, well, because I love that she was asking him, what do y'all do here? And he says R&D. And she's like, what does that mean? And, like, asking the kind of stuff that I feel like we want to know the answers to, but you know that she's just waiting for him to mess up so that she can use that against him. I was kind of hoping that we would get to see the detective talk to Amanda, but they just kind of showed that happened off screen. But what do you think sort of... It sounds like this has been an operation that they've been working on a long time. Leighton mentions that he sunk billions into this. What do you think is, like, everybody's motivation for being a part of this? Because, like, I can kind of see why Leighton's a part of this, but Amanda said that she's, like, a psychiatrist. Yeah. And so I'm like, how did she get wrapped up in all that?
I don't know. And then also she seemed to be on this, like, she said she was overseeing Ryan's drug that turns off your consciousness in the prefrontal cortex, apparently. So she was, like, more on that side of stuff. But I don't know. Then when they're fleeing, she says, hopefully I can, like, make up for all the stuff I've done. Or I guess maybe just by working for this company, but I don't know, because she seems like such a nice person surrounded by, like, everybody else that we've met in this company so far, including evil Jason, seems very selfish or, self-centered, wanting power. I don't know what her motivation would be for, maybe just she initially thought this was a great scientific endeavor. And
Maybe.
then, now the rug's been pulled out from under her.
Perhaps. I don't know. I mean, like, Dawn and Leighton definitely don't hide their intentions about being evil, especially not Dawn. But I think that, like, Amanda seems like the kind of person who may have come into this with good intentions, but now is realizing what she's actually been a part of. But we actually don't know that much about her, so... like you mentioned, she does leave with Jason at the end of the episode, so it seems like they might be traveling companions. But, I mean, we don't know, because she might die in the start of the next episode, so we don't know what's going to happen. But maybe, hopefully we'll learn more about her.
I thought it was interesting, too, because we got to see the footage of when evil Jason left and went into the box. And then they show Amanda running in and, like, trying to stop him. And we find out that they had an argument or something the night before he left, and he was going to do something impulsive, and he had talked to probably Daniela, his ex. Mm-hmm. And it sounded like it was an impulsive thing that evil Jason was doing, leaving right then. Yeah.
It makes me wonder, like, so in the first episode when they make the swap, evil Jason says something to family Jason along the lines of, like, I'm going to give you everything you ever wanted. And so it's like, why doesn't evil Jason want to go back there? Is it just because of his relationship with Daniela? Which, like, when we've seen him in family Jason's timeline, it seems like he's obsessed, an unhealthily amount, with Daniela. But it's like, is that his only motivation? Is he trying to escape something in his timeline? So I am really curious, like, what is keeping him there.
And what was that conversation? Like, was he trying to get back with Daniela and she said no?
Well, I mean, but like when family Jason was there, she said that she was still in love with him and they were, reconnecting. So it's like, if evil Jason would, like, go to therapy, like, instead of making out with his psychiatrist, just, like, get some actual help and be a better person, then maybe he could just be with Daniela. So it's like, I feel like there has to be something else that's motivating this. But maybe that's it.
There's something else he's escaping from.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, so far from what we've seen of him in the other timeline, it's just like he wants to get in her pants the whole time. Like, when they're at dinner, and she's like, oh, you're trying to have sex with me, or whatever she says.
Yeah.
I liked seeing him have a hard time leaving his rich boy lifestyle. He's like, oh, you get another bottle of $100 wine, and, telling his son, like, buy whatever skateboard you want. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, and his son picks out a skateboard. He's like, oh, that's it? That's all you want, Charlie? And so we did see he has a stash that we saw in episode 1. But I do think that, like, it'll be interesting to see if people get suspicious of, like, how is this teacher making all these purchases? Like,
and how often is he going to do that? Because at some point that's going to run out.
So, small aside, like, I didn't think this was a thing in real life until I learned that it was a thing in real life. If you are, like, a normal person and then you start making purchases that, like, are normally outside of your means, people will pay attention. And they'll be like, how are you making those purchases? What's going on? And so, like, with the knowledge of that in real life, I'm like, there's only so much of that you can do and without somebody paying attention to it. So I'm curious if the show will acknowledge that, because right now nobody's really on to evil Jason. He got lucky at the dinner, it seemed like.
Yeah, but his wife is noticing. She's like, you've been different. It's great, but it's different.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang, okay. I'm glad that the show is kind of addressing that he's not having a completely easy time. Like, yes, he's been lucky, and he's been doing his research, on Instagram, looking at old home videos and...
Oh, yeah.
So
friend book or friend face or whatever.
Yeah.
Friend's face.
So he's been diligent in doing that, but so far he has been kind of lucky. Like when she was asking him, what is that hotel that we stayed at that you love? And it took him a few moments, but then he like recalled looking at, scrolling.
He went to his mind palace. Yeah. Think. Yeah.
I think it's interesting that like his wife is enjoying it. I mean, maybe because they've lost some of the passion or something. Is that?
That's really interesting because, so before we started recording, we were talking about the birth certificates that we see in this episode. And one of the theories that we were talking about is like, it seems like Family Jason and his wife Daniela may have had a second child.
Maybe a twin.
But we don't see that child so far, like around the house. So we're theorizing that maybe that kid died or something tragic happened. And maybe that's why Family Jason and Daniela were kind of having a hard time in their marriage of like dealing with grief and trauma. But now it's like evil Jason is here and all he's, like you said, all he thinks about is hooking up with Daniela. So maybe that's why it's like rekindling the spark for her.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was hoping that like when she asked him about the hotel and then he guessed, I was hoping that he was wrong and that she just played along with it. And then when she was talking to him while they were dancing, I was like, oh, is she going to mention that he actually said the wrong hotel? But that was the case, so.
Yeah. They do a good job of, sometimes you don't know, like holding on people's reactions as they're like pushing in. And and we were talking before too because we found out that, what is the person? Blair, is that her name? Blair, who used to work for the company, the one that left 18 months ago and didn't come back. There was a Blair at this dinner party, and first of all, we're like, okay, is this the Blair that left the other place, or is this just the alternate Blair of this timeline? And Carmen, you were saying you think it's the one from Evil Science Jason's universe.
I do think it's her, because in the video when we see Evil Jason leave, and then we see Family Jason come to Evil Jason's timeline, he comes out of the box. So we don't know if there's like the hallway or corridor or whatever, if that's always the way you go when you travel between universes, or we don't know if it's like box to box. But assuming that it's box to box, then that means that in Family Jason's world, there has to be a box there. So if Evil Jason traveled there, there has to have been a box there, right? But then that doesn't make sense, because how would anybody get there if there wasn't a box there before? I don't know.
Did he build it? Because he's been in this timeline a little while, observing and learning about this Family Jason before he takes his place. So I wonder if he had to like construct another box in the place he traveled to.
That was the original theory I was thinking, that like he made the box and that's how he was able to send Family Jason away. But then I was like, what if Blair went first? She found this universe, she made the box, and then Evil Jason followed her there? I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Are they connected? Or at least I'm wondering, too, if it was the same Blair, if she, like, helped him figure out that this might be a timeline, that would be good, but I don't know. Or he was just... But we also get the idea that he had spent time traveling into other timelines, because when he's guessing at stuff, he says... Like, it's probably this.
Mm-hmm. And so when he's looking on Friendspace and he's like doing research for the dinner party, he looks up Blair and they're not friends on Friendspace, which in the grand scheme of things doesn't really mean anything, because like we saw Blair in episode 1 and she's more friends with Daniela than she is with Jason, which like, you know, happens. But that's what first started the theory of like, oh, maybe this is Blair from another reality or whatever. So, but we'll see what happens. But either way, I love this show and I can't wait to see what happens next.
It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait. Thank you all so much for watching. We're at Take This TV on TikTok and Instagram. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a review. Let us know your thoughts and how you're enjoying the show. And remember, it's dangerous to watch TV alone.